Hello everyone. Our next lesson for today is ICN code. That's International Council of Nurses. The ICN code of ethics for nurses has 4 principal elements that outlines the standard of ethical conduct. Elements of the code. Number 1, we have nurses and the people. The nurse's primary professional responsibility is to the people that requires nursing care. In providing care, the nurse provides environment or promotes environment in which the human rights, values, customs, and spiritual belief of the individual, family, and community are respected. The nurse ensures that the individual receives sufficient information on which to base consent for care and related treatment. The nurse holds in confidence personal information and uses judgment in sharing this information. The nurse shares with society the responsibility for initiating and supporting action to meet the health and social needs of the public. In particular, those of vulnerable populations or vulnerable population, the nurse also shared responsibility to sustain and protect the natural environment from depletion, pollution, degradation, and destruction. And that will take us to the element of the code with #1, nurse and the people. Practitioners and management. We have practitioners and management, we have educators and researchers, we have National Nurses Association. Under it, what are you expected to see? We have provide care under practitioners and managers. Provide care that respects human rights and is sensitive to the value, customs, and belief of all the people. Under educators and researchers, in curriculum include references to human rights, equity, justice, solidarity as the basis for access to care. Under national station, what are you expected to see? Develop position statements and guidelines that support human rights and ethical standards. Still under practitioners and managers, provide continuing education in ethical issues. Under educators and researchers, provide teaching and learning opportunities for ethical issues and decision making. Still under National Association for Nigerian Nurses, lobby for involvement of nurses in ethics and review committees. Under still practitioners and managers, what are you supposed to do as a nurse? Provide sufficient information to permit informed consent and the right to choose or refuse treatment. Under educators and researchers, what are you expected to do? Provide teaching and learning opportunities related to informed consent. Under National Association of Nigerian Nurses, provide guidelines, position statements, continuing education related to informed consent. Still under practitioners and managers, what are you expected to do as a nurse? Use recording, information management system that require or ensure confidentiality. Still under educators and researchers, what are you expected to do? Introduce into curriculum concept of privacy and confidentiality. Under National Association of Nigerian Nurses, what are you expected to do? Incorporate issues of confidentiality and then privacy into National Code of Ethics for Nurses. Yes, under these elements of code, another practitioners and managers develop and monitor environmental safety in the workplace. When the workplace is safe, every other person will be safe in working. Still under educators and researchers, what are you so expected to do? Sensitize students to the importance of social action in current concern. Under National Association of Nurses, what are you supposed to do? Advocate for safe and healthy environment. And that will take us to another element which has to do with the nurses and the practice. What are they expected to see here? The nurses carry personal responsibility and accountability for nursing practice and for maintaining competence by continuing learning or continual learning. The nurse maintain a standard of personal health such that the ability to provide care is not compromised. The nurse uses judgment regarding individual competence when accepting and also delegating responsibility. The nurse at all times maintains standard of personal conduct which reflect well on the profession and also enhance public confidence. The nurse in providing care ensures that use of technology, scientific advances are compatible with the safety, unity, and the rights of the people. And that will take us to the third element, which has to do with nurse and the profession. The number 3 element, the nurse and the profession. The nurse assumes the major role in determining and implementing acceptable standard of clinical nursing practice, management, research, and education. The nurse is active in developing a care of research-based professional knowledge. The nurse, acting through the professional organization, participates in creating and maintaining safe, equitable social and economic working conditions in nursing. And that will take us to the next element again. We also have the table, different tables of what we have talked about, which you have to see in your book if you have them. But if you don't have them, you can go to the bookshop, Unica bookshop, to get it. So the next one we have to talk about is the nurse and the co-workers, which is very, very important. The nurse sustains a cooperative relationship with the co-workers in nursing and other fields. The nurse takes appropriate action to safeguard individuals, families, and communities when their health is endangered by a co-worker or any other person. Looking through your textbook, you could equally see the elements without dash 4, that is nurses and the co-workers. And that will take us to what will be your suggestion. What are the suggestions to be used as ICN of ethics for nurses? The ICN Code of Ethics for Nursing is a guide for action based on social values and needs. It will have meaning only as a living document if applied to the realities of nursing and healthcare in a changing society. To achieve its purpose, the code must be understood, internalized, and used by nurses in all aspects of their work. It must be available to students and used throughout the study and work life. The next one now, how do we apply the elements of ICN? ICN Code of Ethics for Nurses. Here are the application. The 4 elements of ICN Code of Ethics for Nurses, nurses and the people, nurses practice, nurses and the profession, and the nurses and the co-workers give a framework for the standard of conduct. The following charts will assist nurses to translate the standard into action Nurses and nursing students can therefore, 1. Study the standard under each element of the code. 2. Reflect on what each standard means to you. Think about how you can apply. Number 3. Ethics in your nursing domain. Practice, education, research, or management. Discuss the code with co-workers and others. Use a specific example from experience to identify ethical dilemmas and the standard of conduct as outlined in the code. Identify how you can or you could solve the dilemmas. Work in groups to clarify ethical decision making and reach a consensus on standard of ethical conduct. Collaborate with your national nurses association, co-workers, and others in the continuous application of ethical standard in nursing practice, education, management, and also research. And that will take us to ethical consent, uninformed consent. How do we carry that out? The law requires that a client or a representative be given sufficient information regarding various treatment modalities so that the consent is an informed process. Informed consent means that the client understands the reason for the proposed intervention and its benefits and risks and agree to the treatment by signing a consent form. Legally, the client must be mentally competent to give consent for medical procedures. It is the legal responsibility of the nurse of the healthcare provider performing the procedure to obtain the client's informed consent. Informed consent is a process consisting of information and consent, not merely the signing of a form. Obtaining the informed consent requires client's teaching by the healthcare provider. The healthcare provider may not force the client to sign the consent. The client has the right to refuse the information and waive the informed consent and undergo treatment. But the decision must be documented in the medical record. Therefore, the signing of an informed consent can also be waived for urgent medical and surgical intervention as long as institutional policy indicates. Parental or guardian's consent should be obtained before treatment is initiated on a minor. If a client is minor and the parent or legal guardians deny the life-saving treatment, the court may overrule the decision under the law of most states. And that will take us to the nursing responsibility regarding informed consent. There are different responsibilities as regards that. The general rules to keep in mind are: number 1, the physician cannot delegate the responsibility for obtaining informed consent. However, the nurse will be held liable on a battery claim together with the physician if the nurse knows the client has not given informed consent. Number 2, as directed by institutional policy, the nurse may witness a client signing of a consent form or may be responsible for making such that the signed form is in the chart as a witness to the claim. The nurse should be fully alert and aware of what was being signed. When the nurse discovers circumstances that render a signed consent form invalid, such a change in the client's condition, the nurse should notify the physician, and if necessary, the nurse is justified in refusing to assist with the procedure until the requirement for the informed consent is satisfied. Nurses are limited to the type of information that can be shared with the client regarding medical procedures. Example, how long would the procedure last? Questions about the procedural aspect of medical intervention should be referred to the physician. Nurses should check with the institutional policy concerning this aspect to ensure compliance. Although the law does not require staff nurses to obtain a formal informed consent for nursing procedures, the nurse has the responsibility of explaining to the client what to do, what to expect during the procedure. And that will take us to order by priority when consigning to medical or surgical procedures. Number 1, any competent adult age 18 years or older for himself. Number 2, any parents, whether an adult or minor, for his minor child. Number 3, any married person, whether an adult or minor, for his or her spouse is unable to consent. Any person temporarily standing in a place of parents, whether formally served or not, for the minor under his care, and any guardians for his words. Any female regardless of age or marital status for herself when given in connection with the pregnancy or childbirth. In the absence of the parents, an adult for this minor, brother or sister. Number 7, in the absence of parents, any grandparent for his minor, grandparent. And that will take us to the end of this order, which you have heard. Thank you for listening.